you get the feel of a Subaru, which is the great part. So you get the feel of the all-wheel drive. Obviously, we're in Salt Lake, snow environment, like no issues with it in the snow, no issues worrying about slipping, sliding, safety, all of that. You get all of that. So you get everything that makes Subarus great. And then you get electric motor, which is quieter, smoother, faster. An EV is the absolute perfect car.
Welcome to EV Insider by Recurrent, where we make it easier to buy and sell electric cars by giving you access to leaders from across the industry. Let's get started.
So I'm Jeff Miller. So I'm the CEO of Mark Miller Subaru Midtown and Southtown. We have two Subaru stores in the Salt Lake City area. I'm a fourth generation auto retailer, so I've been in the business a long, long time, and I'm just excited to be on the show.
Yeah, right on. Cool. Okay, so I live in Washington State, the land of Subarus, right?
Yeah.
Is it the same in Utah? Is it basically like every third car is a Subaru in the Salt Lake City area?
Yeah, especially when you're in the Salt Lake City or Park City market, like the closer to the city and the Park City in the mountains, yeah, it's all Subarus. Yeah.
Okay, but you're sort of in the suburbs. Is that the geography?
So our main store, the one I'm in right now, is pretty much just a few miles from downtown Salt Lake, so very close to the main part of the city. And then my Southtown store is about 8-9 miles farther out towards the suburbs.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, and I am my last gas car was a Subaru Outback, like a good card-carrying Washington State person, and
That's good.
Yeah, I know. It was sad when that finally when I gave it up to go electric. But I didn't get the Solterra, but I really do want to talk to you about like your experience of what you see, Subaru buyers, myself included, so brand committed. How are they kind of adapting to Subaru's EV and plug-in hybrid strategy? Like, what's everybody doing?
So Subaru's EV strategy has been very slow. It's been very slow what they've created.
I wasn't going to say it, but thank you. You are saying it.
I will say it. I have no problem saying it. They were trying to be a fast follower, and with everything that's changed in the market, changed obviously in the last couple of months with all the incentives going away, it's starting to look a little bit smarter, I guess. But I mean, I think Subaru went from, they had a game plan of selling to almost 200,000 EVs at one point in the next couple of years, and I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to that now. It's looking more and more like you're looking closer to the 40, 50, 60,000 range because just the market's not there, right? It's very sad too, because as someone who's driven a Solterra for the last 3 years, basically, I love that car. Like I would never not drive a Solterra. I can pick any car I want. That's what I drive every day.
So I come from an Outback. Like, is the Solterra just straight up? Is it the electric Outback, or does it feel different? Inside, outside, whatever.
So, you get the feel of a Subaru, which is the great part. So you get the feel of the all-wheel drive. Like obviously we're in Salt Lake, snow environment, like no issues with it in the snow, no issues worrying about slipping, sliding, safety, all of that. You get all of that. So you get everything that makes Subarus great. And then you get electric motor, which is quieter, smoother, faster.
Yeah.
Right? The hardest part we've noticed with everyone is just getting over the idea of the range anxiety and what's out there. And what I've found with a lot of that is retailer driven.
Okay. So how do you approach that then? Like Outback driver comes in, they do it 25 times a day to your store.
What we've done is when we first brought them in, we have salespeople driving them. Yeah. We've had we did it when we first got the new Solterra. We let everybody in the shop drive it home for the night. Yeah. We have managers that own them. We have me as the owner of the company driving one every day. Like we're showing why it's a great car. My dad, who is no longer involved in the company at all, no ownership whatsoever, he's on his second right now. And he has an order he put in place yesterday for the new Trail Seeker.
Yeah.
So, which is the new EV we're getting in a few months.
Yeah. So I'm really excited to talk about the new stuff coming out for Subaru, but like, so you're just saying that you guys are doing all that business on the EV side because you've chosen to lean in, and any of those other dealers could be doing that, but they are not, and that's the difference.
I think that as a brand, we could be doing a lot better.
Okay.
When EVs were plentiful available, which was 6 months ago, we could have been doing a lot better with it if individual retailers would have leaned in more and accepted this is the future and this is what we need to be, and they're really great cars.
Yeah.
Like once you get over that, I've heard your podcast a lot. I've listened to you talk to a lot of different retailers about it, that very few people drive in a way that an EV doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like you lose the ability for maybe road tripping. I get that. If you take your car on road trips, I get that idea.
Yeah.
But for most people who use daily drivers on cars, an EV is the absolute perfect car.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. So, okay. So like, of all of those Solterra, you've sold 124 Solterras, like way more than, disproportionately more than the share in the market. Like how could you describe the Solterra customer that you sell to and how they're different from the person who comes in and doesn't like buy an EV from you? Like what's
Like
the
the standard Subaru buyer to a Solterra buyer. Like I
yeah,
think
what's the difference?
you're skewing younger for sure.
Okay. Okay.
Skewing a younger person, more environmentally conscious people for sure. There have been, and we have lists of people for years who they're just, when's Subaru going to have an EV? When's Subaru going to have a hybrid? When's Subaru going to have this? And those are the people that generally the first people to raise their hands.
Yeah.
And then the next category, remember, are people that we've converted, right?
Yeah.
Just people that our salespeople have gotten really good at talking about what your actual needs for a vehicle are.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once you talk it through, it's like, have you thought about a Solterra? Have you thought about an EV? You're not driving more than 30 miles a day. Like you never go on a road trip in this car. You've got another car that you use for road trips. Like I could save you a ton of money by you, especially when, I mean, it got to a point where a Solterra lease was like $280 for a $40,000 car. I mean, it was insanely cheap. It was almost, we used to do employee. I probably have, of those 120, I bet 10 or 12 of them are employees.
Okay, gotcha. All right. Well,
You gotta take it,
a
we
little
took it down
asterisk
to,
on that then.
yeah, when we took
Oh,
it
no,
down to
they
an
bought it
employee,
though. They bought it.
yeah, we
Okay.
took it to an employee deal. Like it became so cheap that it was like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
the cheapest way to buy a car ever.
Yeah.
Right. So
Well,
I mean,
like in your neighboring state, Colorado, they're like people were walking out with like $50 a month payment, like
yeah,
before
yeah. If you
gas
were a Subaru,
savings, on some
I
of these
remember
cars.
talking to so I'm on Subaru's national retailer board. I remember talking to one of our reps from Colorado. I'm like, what is an employee deal? Just like, because if you sell a car, say it cost for, and we sell ours, I think we sell to employees at like $500 over our cost on it. But if you sold it at that, what would it at least be with all the incentive money? They're like $80 a month. It's like,
Yeah.
how have you not sold a Solterra to every employee you have? Like you have 100 employees, you should have 100 sales. Like how
Right.
does someone not buy that car?
Right.
Right. I don't know. He couldn't give me a good answer on it. And it came down to the idea. It's like, well, because they don't get good enough range. It's like, really? Does it matter at that point?
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, so
Yeah.
of those buyers, like the 120 people, how many of them had still own a gas car for their second car, percentage wise?
I would say high, 80%.
Very high. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say very high, 80, 90%. I don't have the exact number, but I would say very high. And it won't change from that until we really can get to those 600 mile ranges, which I think are solid state batteries and a few years out on it for sure.
Yeah.
But when they can get those ranges to be 600 miles and a 10-minute charge up to 80%, like I can't imagine why anyone would buy a gas car at that point.
Yeah, and at that point, also the cost for the EV will be far lower than the gas car too, because battery costs are coming down. So it's like you have to really. There will be some people that'll say, you know what, I'd prefer to pay more for the gas version of the regular electric car, but it's not going to be many at that point.
No, I think the market's moving there, and I think all the manufacturers know it. I think the current administration slowed it down a little bit. Yeah. I mean, I don't think a lot, but they slowed it down some for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not
so okay. So since the end of the rebate, right? Like
yep.
So we're in starting October 1st, basically through today. Like, what percentage of your sales are EV or hybrid now? Like in this sort of hangover period.
So with the Subaru world, because of the limited production, I just don't have any.
You don't have any.
I've got 2 on the ground right now between my 2 stores. So like we did. The supply level to us, Solterras, is going to be very low for the next little bit. Like that's going to be our biggest challenge, especially as I think we're still going to drive our demand, especially with lease returns and the demand we've put out there, is we're going to have to go out and find them. And as my guess is, we're going to be going out to carb states. So we're going to be going to California. We're going to be going to Oregon. We're going to go to Washington. We're going to be trading cars into us from retailers that don't want them and aren't committed to them.
Yeah.
To be able to sell cars. We're not going to be able to, Subaru's not going to be able to supply us to the point we're going to need.
Yeah. Okay. So on that used side, like, do you guys go out and source other brands that you retail? So what else are you selling besides used Solterras then?
So for going into right now, we actually had this conversation in the last few days, is that going into right now, we haven't been going out and looking for those cars, but it might be a strategy that makes a lot of sense to start going out and doing it, because I don't think the used car market makes much sense for EVs right now, because it's in this weird, confusing state of when that $7,500 went away, you should have seen a bump up in used car market, and you didn't. And I just don't think we really understand that market well yet. I think it's going to take a few months to get a good feel for what that market really looks like.
Yeah, there's been some weird movements in the used car, sort of on the wholesale side on the used EVs. Like one thing you've certainly seen is like cars that were nearly new, 2024s, even used 2025s. The pricing on those has come up at wholesale because now there's a tariff on the new version. And then prices on cars that were already down below, like 24,000 have decreased. So it's like, now like there's plenty of stuff around at $20,000, which is what a used EV buyer was paying out of pocket if they were eligible for the rebate.
Yeah.
So it's the same. They're actually now it's the one difference is now everybody's eligible for that $20,000 used EV, which is incredibly compelling compared to what you'd have to pay for a used combustion engine car. It's probably 2 or 3 model years older.
But the problem with it now is because of that, there's none out there. Like the used car EV, the EV market for used cars is very light. There's not much inventory out there. So people are having to be very open-minded to what they want in the used EV world, because you can't just go out there and say, I want a 2-year-old Solterra and go find one. Good luck.
Certainly not with Subaru.
In the state of Utah, there is one 2023 Solterra for sale right now.
My gosh. So okay. So if you could wave your magic wand and get a supply of anything outside of used Subarus, because there's just not that many, what would it be? What would you stock your dealership with right now?
I mean, I think the ones, especially if you could keep in that $20,000 range, I think used Teslas for sure, the Honda, the Ioniqs, I think those would be the ones that you'd really focus on, those two. And I think when you see the used car retailers are out there that are focusing on EVs, those are the two that they're out there trying to really pick up.
Yeah. But since you're in Utah, they all got to be all-wheel drive, right? Like
that's the issue. They all have to be all-wheel drive. You can't really, a 2-wheel drive car in Utah is death. Like you just don't have it. I mean, the funny one is, so Subaru's the new Subaru that's going to be coming out, the Uncharted, which is the third EV we're going to get. There's going to be a 2-wheel drive version. It's going to be a front-wheel drive version of that vehicle.
You're probably not going to you're not going to get a big alligator.
They will not. They will never ship one to Utah. Yeah, we'll never see it. They're only making 4 or 5% production. It's going to be very low production on it. Okay. So low production on it, and it's going to be more for the California and CARB states and places that will sell a 2-wheel drive car, because we will not.
Oh yeah. Okay. Subaru has a couple of different EVs coming out in 2026. There's the Uncharted. Is there like a Trail Seeker as well? Am I getting this name?
Yeah, we actually the two we just got sold orders just opened yesterday on both of them. So
okay, what's the difference? Give me the
orders on now. So Trail Seeker, that's the first one. So the first one we'll see will be a Trail Seeker, and so that one is, to compare it to Subaru, it's an Outback. Okay. It's compared to Outback size. So it's more of an Outback, longer, wagony, more wagon-like. Okay. Whereas the Solterra, you would compare more to a Forester.
Okay, gotcha. Charted then? What's that?
Yeah, Charted would be a smaller car. So the Charted, you would compare it to a Crosstrek.
Okay, cool. That's helpful.
So like you really can compare them across the brands. Because we share platforms with Toyota, they can't use the same names. They can't just call it Outback EV. They can't call it Forester EV, which we would prefer, obviously. Yeah. But because it's a Toyota shared brand, they wanted to make their own names for each one of them.
Okay.
So Toyota's got their versions of them. We've got our versions.
Yeah. I don't know. The names are like, it's aligned with the Subaru like brand value. Like you're taking up to the trailhead and it's covered in mud and stuff like that. Like I get that,
The Trail Seeker is really the performance EV they're building. So the Trail Seeker, I want to say it's 375 horsepower. Ooh, so it's, wow. I mean, it's the 0 to 60 time on, I've heard, like 4.5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like that's going to be a performance. The neat thing is the Solterra. So this generation Solterra, the 2026, which is the new model, which is completely updated. They have an XT version of that car now. So it's not a turbo because it's electric, but they call it the XT. And I've been driving one for the past probably month now. And that is a fast, fun car. It's a lot of fun. Cool. So I really enjoy driving that car around. And it's rated 285 miles range too. Yeah. In the Subaru.
Well, at some point here, I may one of these products may sort of trigger my triumphant re-entry into the Subaru brand. So they didn't have it for me when I needed when I needed my first. I have a Model Y now. That was what replaced
Yeah.
the Outback, which I feel like that is. I mean, the Seattle area, like it's every eighth car is a Subaru Outback, and basically that whole demographic could just like as their leases came up or whatever as it got to 100,000 miles, they went to the Model Y.
And I think if we as retailers could do a better job of it, the Solterra is a better car. It's a better car than the Model Y, without question. And the arguments always have been, oh, well, the Model Y gets a 300-mile range and the Solterra is only getting 230. But what are you actually getting on your Model Y?
Yeah. So this is a great point.
This
So
is a good question, right?
No. I don't know. I've honestly, I've never charged it on a no. I do road trip like once, twice a year where I charge it publicly. But other than that, it doesn't matter what I get on my Model Y.
You plug it
I
home
get
every
what
day.
I need because I leave my house full every time, and but to your point, like a lot of what we do at Recurrent is really like analyzing real world range data versus like EPA, and the reality is like for basically every single car that's not a Tesla, not only are they beating the real world range is better than the EPA. When it's new, it's still better than the EPA 3 years in, and that's not something. And Tesla works a little differently, especially like the last couple of years, it's been a little closer. But like you fast forward back to the 2023s, 2020s, all that kind of stuff, like they basically never get their EPA.
They never have EPA.
Right from the beginning.
We also should complain when people would come with their Teslas, like, what is the range of your Tesla? Oh, it's 260 miles. What do you actually get? I don't know, 180, 190, like, totally. Actually drive it, right? Like, I was playing with your website before we got on the call today, and I was just curious what a Solterra comes up, right?
Yeah.
So Solterra on your site shows that 222 miles is the EPA on a 2025 Solterra. You guys don't have the 26 data yet. I get it. It's only been out a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So, but 222 miles, the actual range that your customers that you're getting the data from are getting is 260 miles.
Yeah.
So it's rated, and we always complain to Subaru, like, why can't you guys sandbag like Tesla does? But they're, I'm not going to use ethics, but whatever.
So, and the other thing I think, like, which is cool and not something that's like people understand is even after 3 years, that Solterra will still probably be exceeding its EPA, and that's just, I don't know, it a little bit drives me crazy, how all the the loopholes that are in that EPA range testing and how much different manufacturers can either be super conservative or super aggressive. And
I wish they would standardize that more so you could get a true look at what that actually is. I wish that was a standardized thing nationally so you would get real ideas of what range is, because I mean, we try and tell customers, and we don't want our customers to get over excited. So we're like, well, it's rated at 200, like the new one was like, it's rated at 285 miles. If depending on how you drive, if you're going to drive it really light and nice, you may get a lot more than that. But like, that's how it should be. Like, I mean, when I drove my personal one before I've been driving this 26, I would consistently get 240 to 250 miles on that car. Yeah. And I wasn't babying it all over the place. Like, it just what it is.
Drive normally. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think the other thing that we also try and sort of answer in our data is like, well, I'm going to get less range when it's cold, when it's very, very cold, right? Like I think people generally know that, right? But there's no real sense of like, how is that in this car versus this other car? And our data actually can show that. And so it's like, in the dead of winter in Utah, you're going to get, well, I don't know, 210 miles, not 250 or whatever, versus in the summer, you're going to get 270, And so I think there's just a ton of value in that transparency for our customers to set the expectation right from the beginning, Yeah.
Yeah. So. We love that. We love that. I mean, that's one of the big things that Subaru's pushed in the 2026 Solterra versus the 2025 is cold weather charging.
Yeah. Oh, charging speed.
The new Solterra has internal battery heaters built into it to help cold weather charging.
That is interesting. We've not covered differences in charging speeds based on weather, on temperature. We've definitely covered like how fast is it to like charge this car versus the industry average on a fast charger, or how long does it take to charge at home or whatever based on what you drive. But we have not gotten into like the charging speed differences between when it's 30 degrees versus 70 degrees. We have that data, but we haven't really like incorporated it into our. Feels like a little bit too advanced for the kind of general.
No, but I like how you at least put on there what level they'll charge at on a fast charger, like what the maximum charge level on a fast charger goes to. Like that was another big one they moved from the 26 Solterra from the 25 is it went from a 7.7 kilowatt to 11 on a level 2.
Yeah. Okay.
Which makes a big difference. Which makes a big difference on a level 2 charge, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Charge fast level 2. And I think it went higher on the level 3 as well, but I don't. I've never actually used a level 3 charger. We're actually installing.
I mean, that's an amazing. Hang on, let's stop right there. You've owned an EV daily drive for 3 years, and you've never fast charged it because you don't need to.
I've never been to a fast charge station. We're actually installing 2 of them at the dealership today.
Yeah.
We're actually putting public charging stations in our store, our new Midtown store today. So we'll have one 350 kilowatt dual charger and then one kind of smaller level 3 charger. But I've never used one. Never actually plugged into one.
I tell you what, when I first got my first EV was actually a Volkswagen ID4, and I got 3 years of free charging on Electrify America that came with it, and I used it twice. In 3 years.
Yeah, Subaru used to do that on the old ones too. Now they don't do it anymore because no one used it. No one actually used it.
It's just like such a difference. I think like public charging and range are these huge, just a yawning gap between what a buyer thinks they need and what the driver actually ends up using. And we're trying to bridge that gap, Nope,
for sure. 100%.
Thanks for joining this episode of EV Insider. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time.